Hey, Shalom, Shalom, Shalom. Mr. Brother Bayan here to bring you a camp. Prior to get started, I want to give infinite honors and prayers unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who taught me this truth. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect, you Akim, you Akwat, which you brothers and sisters in the Hebrew that believe. All right, and again, Shalom. Okay, and another day, man. Another spiritual dollar. Put up for the Lord, man. Put up for yourselves, okay? But, ultimately, what was on my mind today is pretty much, all roads, leading into Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, okay? And, what I mean by that, and which everybody should know, is nowhere to run, there's nowhere to hide, man, right? You can't run from the Lord, you can't hide from the Lord, all right? Either you're going to serve him or you're going to be put to death, man. All right, that's plain and simple. All right, and to clarify, again what I just said, and to even more context, obviously the only people that can serve the Lord is you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right, that always has to be said, first and foremost. All right, you heathen, like I say, you can kick rocks, you go do what the hell that you want to do. All right, but for you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man, the word is out, man. All right, the word is out. No more excuses. All right, we got this thing called the internet. All right, we got this thing called YouTube. That this message is going around on a four corners of the earth. Broad. Okay, so again, it's no excuse for you not to be serving the Lord. All right, if you're not serving the Lord, again, you're just setting yourself up for destruction, man. All right, and the Lord also, he gives you accounts. And it's one of my favorite books. To me, it's one of the funniest books in the scriptures. But with Jonah, and I'm gonna grab a piece of that too by me just speaking of it. But kicking it off, I'm gonna kick it off here with Psalms 139. All right, this is the book of Psalms, chapter 139. If I can get to it, goddamn. In 6, all right. The point is in 8. All right, it says Psalms 139 and 6. It says, "Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. It is high. I cannot attain unto it. Whither shall I go from thy spirit, or whither shall I flee from thy presence?" All right, and again, you can't flee from the presence of the Lord. All right, it tells you that the Lord's eyes is 10 times brighter than the sun. Let me grab that real quick. 10,000 times, like it. This is Sirach 23 and 19. It says, "Such a man only feareth the eyes of men, and knoweth not that the eyes of the Lord are 10,000 times brighter than the sun, beholding all the ways of men, and considering the most secret parts. He knew all things ever they were created, so also after they were perfected, he looked upon them all." All right, so again, you can't even look at the sun. All right, you look at the sun right now for longer than, I don't know, a couple seconds. Probably a second, your eyes are gonna burn. All right, we talking about 10,000 times brighter than the sun. So the Lord is letting you know, man, hey, my sight is everywhere, man. I can see everything. All right, and obviously, he got his angels, which are the messengers, that's coming back and forth, through the earth, reporting back into the Lord. All right, but that's another topic for another time. But again, the point being that the Lord's eyes is 10 times brighter than the sun, beholding all the ways of men and considering the most secret parts. All right, but back to that Psalms 139 in 7, where I was, it says, "Whither shall I go from thy spirit, or whither shall I flee from thy presence? If I ascend up into heaven, thou art there. If I make my bed in hell, behold, thou art there." All right, and what has to be known right here is that hell is a condition. All right, hell is a lowly condition, which we are in hell right now. Okay, but it talks about if I ascend up to heaven, thou art there. If thou make thy bed into hell, behold, thou art there. All right, and that just just covers the entire the board, man. All right, you can't run from the Lord. All right, whether you're in a heaven-like space, or whether you are in a hell-like space, or if you're in a spiritual world, or if you're here on earth receiving your judgment. Again, because being in hell here is the judgment for you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans at the moment. All right, our heaven is coming soon. But again, Psalms 139:8, if I ascend up into heaven, thou art there. If I make my bed in hell, behold, thou art there. All right, is you can't get around it, man. All right, you can't escape the Lord. All right, and that's why, you have to know these things to strike that fear into you. To know that again, if I'm not serving the Lord, I'm setting myself up for failure. I'm setting myself up to die ultimately. All right, and that's the quickest way to die. All right, and the Lord is so, man, people's going to remember the Lord. All right, and remember Alashijah. All right, a terrible demon-like power. Okay, that is the power of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. All right, he can be, that peace. He can give you that wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. For you to be in a great place, in a great space. All right, but piss him off. All right, which we've been doing for the past 1,000-something years. Being here, piss him off, and he's gonna fuck you up. All right. Henceforth, the curses that we have on us. All right. The situations that we constantly go through, that we have to endure. The things that we have to constantly, the vexing things that's constantly on and ongoing. Here on the earth. All right. This is the result of disobeying the Lord and not serving the Lord. All right. But that was Psalms. Again, making a point of with the terrible demon-like power. All right, the Lord is terrible. All right, he's glorious in so many great words you can put to it too, but you have to also put that word terrible too. He can be a terror unto you. Okay, and that's some scary shit, man. All right, this is Deuteronomy 32 and 39. All right, it says, see not that I, even I am he. All right, the Lord out the gate talking about I'm him. All right, see now that I, even I am he, and there is no God with me. All right, so that Allah bullshit, that Buddha bullshit, and whatever other God that appears, on a daily here in this hellhole. All right, there's no other God, there's no other power. All right, so whatever, if it's not Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, you niggas are serving a demon. All right, something that wasn't taught to you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans by the scriptures. All right, by the prophets. All right, it's definitely not the ways of the Lord. All right, but it says, see now that I, even I am he, and there is no God with me. I kill, I make alive, I wound, and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. All right, neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. All right, and again, you have to know this, man. All right, if you X out all these false gods, these false teachings, and so on and so forth, once you X that out the way, and you see that the Lord is the only route to your salvation. All right, that will make you put more respect on his name. That will make you want to work even harder of knowing the things that he can do to you. All right, because again, you have to remember also, the Lord did flood the earth. All right, the first death, the Lord did flood the earth and only left Noah and his 3 sons, and their wives. Let me grab that real quick. I think I worded it wrong. Got the second. because the Lord is pretty much going to do it again. All right, again, the first death being a flood, the second death being, you know, these ICBM nuclear missiles that's going to come. All right, this is what Jake gotta, you know, realize, you know, dealing with the Lord, man. All right, again, he controls the entire spectrum of healing, of killing, and so on and so forth. All right, so like, let me grab it. Bear with me. So I guess we'll just move on. Lord willing, it comes, because I know it's gonna be in on my mind all goddamn day. This don't get it. I don't know what else. I believe it's an apocrypha, so that should make it easier. We got 2 Peter. Now that could back up the point of what I just mentioned as well, but it's not what I'm looking for. But I'm gonna grab it anyway. 2 Peter 2 and oh damn, yeah, that's a spirit. This wasn't even supposed to come out, but this fire too. This back up everything I was just saying. The 2 Peter 2 and 4, it says, "For if God spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell and delivered them into the chains of darkness to be reserved unto the judgment." You know, and that was speaking of earlier. You know, and I forget exactly what I was speaking about when I was speaking about the judgment. You know, being here in hell. Yeah. That's Psalms 139. Come, for if God spared not the angels, all right, which we are those angels that sin, but cast them down into hell, this condition that we are living in right now, and delivered them into the chains of darkness. All right, the chains of darkness being, you know, this flesh that we have to constantly deal with. You know, this is the chains of darkness. You know, because again, Jake sinned damn near every day. Not damn near. Jake definitely sins every day. All right, and you know that's a that's a sentence. You know, pretty much from the Lord, man. You know, these chains of darkness that we're in. All right, and only the Lord can break us out of this chains of darkness. All right, but speaking of Noah and his 3 sons and their wives, it says, "And spared not the old world, but saved Noah, the 8th person, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly, and turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemned them with an overthrow, making them an ensample unto those that after should live ungodly." All right, but obviously, you should know the story of Noah and his sons Shem, Ham, and Japheth. You know, and their wives. But again, that was the flood was the first death. But let me make sure, because I don't think that was what I wanted, but through the Spirit, that was definitely needed to be put out. It says, you know, Jake do that sometimes, to put their own words next to the scriptures, the way that you explain it and break it down, and it may come out that you're thinking that you're looking for the actual scripture, but it's your thoughts coming out along with a scripture, if that makes sense. If I can't find it, we're gonna move on. But this is Revelations 20 and 14. All right, so since we know that the first death was the flood with Noah, all right, the second death, uh, Revelations 20 and 14, it says, "And the death and the hell were cast into the lake of fire." This is the second death. All right, and again, those fires coming from the ICBM nuclear missiles. Pretty much when the Lord come and bomb this place, into shit, man. You know, but definitely got off topic right there, searching for that precept. But let's get back to it. All right, now it's backing up. That Second Peter backed up that Psalms 139 and 8. If I ascend up into heaven, thou art there. If I make my bed in the hell, behold, thou art there. All right, can't get away from the Lord. But this is Revelations chapter 22. Since I'm here, in 11. All right, it says, "He that is unjust, let him be unjust still, and he which is filthy, let him be filthy still. And he that is righteous, let him be righteous still. And he that is holy, let him be holy still." Now this is red letters here, Howard Shah speaking now. It says, "And behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me, to give every man according as his work shall be." All right? And we could go into that word reward, because everybody always think that a reward is just a trophy, all right, just a prize. Out the way. Think is that again? Think it's just a prize or a reward, just something for getting good, for doing good. That's what the conception of a reward is here. All right, but if you get into the scriptures, the blue letter specifically, let's see what the word reward meant right here. Was it Revelation 22 and 11? My bad, it was 12. All right. This is the word reward in the Greek.
Strong's G 3408, misthos. Misthos.
It says dues paid for work, wages, hire. All right. Reward used of the fruit naturally resulting from toils and endeavors. No, but the point being right here on the number 2, the letter A, it says in both senses a reward and punishments. All right, of the rewards which God bestows or will bestow upon good deeds and endeavors of punishments. All right, so again, everybody always takes the goodness, all right, which is right here, the dues paid for work, wages of hire, all right, are the rewards which God bestows or will bestow upon good deeds and endeavors. All right, that's everybody. That's the only thing that everybody can truly explain to you to what a reward is. All right, because again, in a sense, you never tell nobody, "Hey, I'm about to reward you with a bullet to your head." Like, what kind of reward is that? It's kind of fucked up in a sense, but hey, we dealing with the Lord here. All right. So again, all this bullshit that you've been doing, all right, I'm going to reward you with your reward. This is your consolation. All right. And let me grab that too, since I just mentioned that. This is your consolation. All right. Everybody is going to receive a reward. All right. And that reward, like it just said, is either going to be in both senses, rewards and punishment. All right. But Revelations 22 and 12, again, it says, red letters, Yahweh Shah speaking, "And behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me, to give every man according as his work shall be." All right, so whatever you've been doing, here in this grace period, if you've been bullshitting and fucking off, all right, yeah, you got a reward coming for you. All right, if you've been working diligently, all right, you've been doing, things to the best of your ability to please Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, you have a great reward coming for you. Okay. But let me grab that consolation real quick. In the book of St. Luke, Luke 6. Point is in 24, but I'm gonna read down from 21. Or I'm gonna start at 20. All right, it says Luke 6 and 20. And he lifted up his eyes on his disciples and said, all right, now red letter Yahushua speaking. It says, blessed be ye poor, for yours is the kingdom of God. Blessed are ye that hunger now, for ye shall be filled. Blessed are ye that weep now, for ye shall laugh. All right. Blessed are ye when men shall hate you, and when they shall separate you from their company, and shall reproach you, and cast out your name as evil for the Son of Man's sake. All right. Rejoice in that day and leap for joy, for behold, your reward is great in the heaven, for in like manner did the fathers unto their prophets. All right. There go that word reward again, man. All right. So that's what people think again of that word reward. This is that definition fits here. All right. For those the prophets, pretty much, man. The believers. All right. The 1/3. All right. Their reward is great, because right now the 1/3, you know, we are the poor right now. All right. We are rich in spirit. All right. But we are the poor. We are the low of the of the earth right now. All right. We are highly praised in wickedness. All right. But again, if you see, you know, us on the highways and byways preaching the words of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, you know, again, we're still talked down upon. All right. And that could go upon many other measures. We are the most hated people, you know, on the earth. All right. But everybody wants to be us. All right. And this got me thinking about that other precept in Apocrypha. I'm gonna grab it, backing up that point, Lord willing. Kind of roughly paraphrasing. See if I could think of it now. Basically being praised in our lowly, how much more, you know, in our riches. But I'm gonna find it, Lord willing, if the Spirit allows me to do it. But Luke 6 and 23, rejoice ye in that day and leap for joy, for behold, your reward is great in heaven, for in a like manner did their fathers unto the prophets. All right. But woe unto you that are rich, for ye have received your consolation. All right. You have received your consolation. All right. You niggas that think that, you know, you finally did it. You finally reversed what they call that shit, the generational. You finally broke the curses of generational trauma and shit like that, and now you got generational wealth that you're trying to build on. All right. You niggas that think that you won already. All right. Hey, you definitely did win. All right. You won your consolation here in hell. Congratulations. You played yourself. You know, you won your consolation here in hell. All right. You shouldn't want to win your consolation here in hell, because everything here is temporary, man. All right. It is temporary. So again, you know, why are you purchasing a lease, you know, on a burning building, pretty much, you know? So like, I just thought of another precept. I got you right here. Backing up the point of the temporary, man. That's not it. 1 Corinthians 9 and 24, it says, know ye not that they which run in a race run all, but one receiveth the prize? So run that ye may obtain. All right. Don't bow out the race. All right. This is a race for your goddamn crown, Jake. All right. So bowing out gracefully, or what would you say? I gracefully bow and decide to be a bitch, you know, and leave. All right. Nah, you can't do that, man. So run this damn race, man. It's a prize at the end of this race. It's a reward at the end of this race. All right. It says, but one receiveth the prize, so run that ye may obtain. And every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things. All right, being temperate, being balanced. All right, which that's a battle in itself. But again, we have to do it. We have to strive for it. All right, that's part of the race. A race is not easy. A race has never been easy. All right, whether it's physical or it's any type of other way. You know, that I just can't think of a word to put to it. But even in the physical sense, which I definitely can speak on. All right, when you're running in a race, hey, you either, if it's a sprint, all right, you got to go all out, and you have to make sure your body is trained to handle that type of pressure. You know, that amount of pretty much what you're exhorting out. You know, you have to make sure your body is in shape to be able to handle that type of stuff. All right, and you have to maintain that pace. All right, but even, you know, what this race is likened unto is a distance race, a long distance race. All right, where you have to pace yourself. All right, where you have to constantly, you know, running distance. You have to keep a watch with you. You know, measuring that. Okay, I'm at this pace. All right, this is a 6:30 pace. All right, I got to maintain this for the next mile. All right, at this pace right here. Once I get to this point of the mile, okay, we got to turn it up a little bit more. All right. So again, being temperate. All right. You can't just be there all willy-nilly and thinking that, okay, in this long distance race, I'm just gonna go all out right here at the beginning, and all of a sudden you just gassed out, you know, because again, you wasn't balanced, you wasn't temperate in what you needed to be doing, all right, to win this race, all right. But it says, and every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things. Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, but we an incorruptible crown. All right. Backing up that point of the consolation. All right, in in Luke chapter 6 that that I just brought out. Matter of fact, let me just grab it. Luke 6 and 24. But woe unto you that are rich, for ye have received your consolation. All right. So these niggas have received their consolation already. All right, they have received that corruptible crown. All right, the LeBrons, King James, King James, he got his crown already. Steph Curry got his crown already. All right, and many of these other niggas, these rapper niggas, these all these people that sit so high above us, but so below these damn devils. Still, it don't matter how much money you get, you're still gonna be a nigga, to these people, But again, that leads to even more of corruption. How do you have, glory on one end, but you're still treated like shit? That's the definition of being a slave, being a prize fighter. All right, for these damn Edomites, these damn devils, the so-called white man. All right, that's the result of that. It's corruptible. All right, and it's going to be forgotten. Over time. Niggas can't tell you, who won a championship, who won MVP 30 years ago in the NBA or the NFL. That'll never be, remembered. That's something that you really have to go search for, do your due diligence to find out information like that. Why that's corruptible. All right, but this incorruptible crown that is spoken of, the incorruptible crown spoken of right here is pretty much our crowns, the kingdom. All right, that's what we are looking for, the rulership. All right, this is going to be something that's going to be everlasting. All right, so again, working with the Lord is going to lead to everlasting life, man. It's going to lead to an everlasting crown. All right, niggas is not going to be like, oh, who was the 144,000 in 2010? The same ones that's been the ones. All right, that's it, man. That's incorruptible right there. That we're gonna be written, in the book of life forever. All right, our stories are gonna be spoken of forever. All right, so missing out on that, man, you can't miss out on that shit, man. All right, this is an opportunity of a lifetime. All right, but again, that leads back into the point of this camp, man. All right, all roads lead to the Lord. All right, so you can do it that incorruptible way, or you can do it the way of getting that corruptible crown. All right, but we know getting that corruptible crown is ultimately going to lead to your death. All right, let me back this up a little bit more, because this sun is goddamn creeping. But what was our First Corinthians chapter 9 and 26. It says, I therefore so run, not as uncertainly, so I fight not as one that beateth the air. All right, but I keep my body and bring it unto subjection, lest that by any means, when I have preached to others, I myself should be a castaway. All right, not as uncertainty, man. All right, let me grab this in the NLT. This is our 1 Corinthians chapter 9 and how is that? What the hell? 27, 26, 26. 1 Corinthians 9 and 26 in the NLT. It says, so I run. Let me just get the, I'm gonna start back up again. This is 1 Corinthians 9 and 24 in the NLT. It says, don't you realize that in a race everyone runs, but only one person gets the prize? So run to win. All right, only one person gets the prize. All right, and this prize is ultimately coming first, you know, to the elect, man. All right, the 1/3 and the governing body, the 144,000. All right, that's which are, you know, part of the 1/3. All right, but it says, don't you realize that in a race everyone runs, but only one person gets the prize? So run to win. All right, all athletes are disciplined in their training. They do it to win a prize that will fade away, but we do it for an eternal prize. All right, so I run with a purpose in every step. I am not just shadow boxing. All right, I'm not wasting my time in places that I don't need to waste my time at. All right, so I run with purpose in every step. I am not just shadow boxing. I discipline my body like an athlete, training it to do what it should. Otherwise, I fear that after preaching others, I myself be disqualified. All right, so being a hypocrite is with that being said, all right, you can't preach this thing and not do this thing, man. It's like it. Cameron Connor there. The wizard. And that damn devil crept up on me. Shit. God damn, why the fuck look at that shit? I mean, got the ultra hoochies on. But yeah, man. I discipline my body like an athlete, training it to do what it should. Otherwise, I fear that after preaching others, I might be disqualified. You know, I have preached to others. I myself should be a castaway. It's like, but I keep under my body and bring it into subjection. That's to any means. When I have preached to others, I myself should be a castaway. All right, but the reward. What kind of reward do you want, man? You know, the choice is yours. What kind of reward are you going to strive for? Are you going to strive for that corruptible reward, or are you going to strive for that incorruptible reward, man? All right. But at the end of the day, man, we know that it all comes from the Lord. So, you know, that's who you need to be getting right with. That's the business you need to be handling. All right, with the Lord. All right, because since He's the one that has power over you, He's the one that has the ability to fuck you over if He really wants you to. All right, but He also gives you the opportunity. You know, this grace period is for all you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. All right, this grace period is for everybody to make that attempt to get right. But will everybody take heed? Hell no. Obviously, that's why it's written that 2/3 of our people are going to die. All right, they're going to die specifically for not, you know, taking the Lord serious. All right, for forsaking the Lord. You know, chasing these other guys, chasing, you know, this bullshit of what you think is life here. All right, it's not winning here. All right, you're not going to win here. All right, but again, you will always win with the Lord. This is Sirach 11 and 14. It says, prosperity and adversity, life and death, poverty and riches come of the Lord. All right, So all of these things come from the Lord. All right. No matter, you know, how you think you're doing in life, no matter, you know, what the hell you think life is supposed to be, and so on and so forth. All right. And how everything, you know, you think that is supposed to be on your own will. All right. But that's not the case. It all comes from the Lord. All right. It says, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the law are of the Lord. Love and the way of good works are from him. All right. Error and darkness and their beginnings together with sinners, and evil shall wax old with them that glory therein. All right. Error and darkness had their beginning together with sinners, and evil shall wax old with them that glory in therein. All right. So again, you want to continue to be a nigga, you want to continue to not serve the Lord. All right. That's where that error and darkness is gonna that's where you're gonna sit in that error and darkness. All right. You know, woe to you that desire the day of the Lord. All right. Because what is the end to you? You know. But again, you know, knowing that all of these things come from the Lord, again, proves the point again that you can't run from the Lord, man. All right. He's the one that gave you this money. He's the one that gave you this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. All right. He's the one that put you here on this earth. All right. He has people, and as fucked up as it may sound, hey, this is how the Lord had it orchestrated. All right. There's literally babies being born every day, you know, most likely just for the judgment. You know, there are spirits that are coming back into the earth right now, you know, just to be judged. All right. Because again, we know that this is the place of judgment, you know, spoken of Ecclesiastes. Let me grab that real quick to back up that point. But this is the place of judgment, and again, you know, the people are being held here pretty much. You know, the Lord is not allowing them to die, not allowing them to pass away. You know, people are suffering in many which ways, you know, just for the Lord to exercise that judgment that he wants, you know, on you know, whoever it shall be. All right. And again, that's just, if that don't strike fear in you, man, like what else could? All right. If that don't strike fear in you, hey, you have no hope. All right. If you have no fear of the Lord, you have no hope, man. All right. Let me grab that real quick. Ecclesiastes. What's Ecclesiastes 3? Yes, Ecclesiastes 3. Oh, smoke. Let me start up. Ecclesiastes 3 and 14. Point is in 16 of what I wanted. This is Ecclesiastes 3 and 14. It says, I know that whatsoever God doeth, it shall be forever. Nothing can be put to it, nor anything taken from it. And God doeth it that men should fear before him. All right. In the NLT it says, and I know that whatever God does is final. Nothing can be added to it or taken from it. God's purpose is that people should fear him. You know, backing up the point that I just mentioned. You know, if you don't fear the Lord, man, you have no hope. All right. You have no hope. Okay. You have it's nothing for you here, you know, if you have no fear of the Lord. All right. Nothing good, you know, which we know is nothing good here in this hellhole anyway. But you know, it's nothing to strive for if you don't have that fear of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. All right. The men of the Lord, we have that fear. We have something to strive for, and that's something in the next life, in our kingdom, our heaven. All right. But it says again, in the KJV, I know that whatsoever God doeth, it shall be forever. Nothing can be put to it, nor anything taken from it. All right? Can't come against the Lord any type of way, man. God doeth it that men should fear before him. All right? And that's why that should strike fear into you. All right? But it says that which has been is now, and that which is to be hath already been, and God required that which is past. All right. So again, people are coming here, for the things that they have done in their past lives. All right. That's the whole point of being for some of you people, here on earth. Not some of you people, for everybody, because again, what is going to say in the next verse is that this is the place of judgment. All right. So again, we're all being judged. We're all on trial right now. All right. The only difference is they have a certain group of people, all right, that are working, keeping their hands on the plow to speaking to our mediator, our lawyer, trying to get him to mediate, a better to get us off scot-free, from our sentence. All right, because again, a lot of people are coming here, being judged. It says again that which Ecclesiastes 3:15, that which hath been is now, and that which is to be hath already been, and God required that which is past. All right, so backing up the point of pretty much people coming down for to earth for that judgment. But this is the point I wanted to back up what I just said. Ecclesiastes 3:16, and moreover, I saw under the sun the place of judgment, that wickedness was there, and the place of righteousness, that iniquity was there. All right. I said in my heart, God should judge the righteous and the wicked, for there is a time for every purpose and for every work. All right. In the NLT, I said to myself, in due season, God will judge everyone, both good and bad, for all their deeds. Oh, that sounds like a reward to me. if that's not a reward, it says again, I said in the NLT, Ecclesiastes 3:17, I said to myself, in due season, God will judge everyone. All right. And after that judging, you will get your sentence. All right. So that sentence for everyone is both good and bad for all their deeds. All right. And in the verse right above, he was talking about that he requires the things that have come to pass. Okay. So even things that you may have done in your past life. All right. So which we don't remember. In the past life, Jay could have been a treacherous ass nigga that probably sinned on crazy amount of levels, but the Lord had him ordained to win at the end. All right. That's why he's probably here preaching the word and so on and so forth, But again, one more time, because that was smoke. I never read that in NLT. I said to myself, in due season, God will judge everyone, both good and bad, for all their deeds. All right. But this is Sirach. Still listening to Sirach 11. I jumped off it. Sirach 11 in 20. All right, it says, hold on. Yep, Sirach 11 and 20. It says, be steadfast in thy covenant, and be conversant therein, and wax old in thy work. All right. Marvel not at the work of sinners, but trust in the Lord, and abide in thy labor. For it is an easy thing in the sight of the Lord on a sudden, for it is easy thing in the sight of the Lord on the sudden to make a poor man rich. All right. It's easy for the Lord to make a poor man rich. All right, which is he going to do for his the people that are serving him in complete, sincerity. All right. First, because obviously the whole entire Israel will get the kingdom overall. Guys say that, But first, the first fruits, are going to be, the 1/3, starting with 144,000. All right. Yeah. I don't think that was what I wanted. 11 and 20. No, I was supposed to keep reading. Salakia. The blessing of the Lord is in the reward. The blessing of the Lord is in the reward of the godly, and suddenly. Did I read that part? No, okay, that's why I stopped there. Salakia. The blessing, Sirach 11 and 22, it says, the blessing of the Lord is in the reward of the godly, and suddenly he maketh his blessing flourish. All right. because obviously, you know, towards the end of the time, again, you're going to know who his chosen are. All right, you want to see the men, you know, that are cool-headed, you know, in these times. All right, but you know, it's easy to see when the Lord is truly blessing somebody, you know, if you have your spiritual eyes open. All right, because you see that man has a complete understanding of what's going on around him. All right, and is completely at the peace of mind, you know, and also is praising the name of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. That's another telltale sign. All right, but it says, I read 22. I'm reading one more time. The blessing of the Lord is in the reward of the godly, and suddenly he maketh his blessing flourish. Say not, what profit is there of my service, and what good thing shall I have after? All right. Again, say not, I have enough and possess many things, and what evil shall I have hereafter? All right. This is what I wanted in verse 26. But in verse 25, it says, in the day of prosperity, there is a forgetfulness of affliction. And in the day of affliction, there is no more remembrance of prosperity. All right. And that's gun smoke in itself. In the day of prosperity, there's forgetfulness of affliction. All right. When things are going good, all right, you know, Jake tend to forget about their afflictions. All right, the things that you went through that was horrible, because again, you're prospering, everything is all good. All right, but it says, and in the day of affliction, there is no more remembrance of prosperity. All right, when you're going through hell, man, when you being afflicted, it's like, God damn, you know, everything else don't really matter around you. It's like, damn, what the hell am I going through right now, and how can I get out of this? All right, but it says, verse 26, the point. All right, it says, for it is an easy thing unto the Lord in the day of death to reward a man according to his ways. All right, backing up their Revelations, what was that, 20 or 21 that I brought out, you know, of the Lord being that rewarder, man, giving you your reward, you know, due unto you. Okay, again, for it is an easy thing unto the Lord in the day of death to reward a man according to his ways. That's easy, you know, that's slight work for the Lord. All right, he's dishing out that reward, you know, easily to anybody and everybody. You get a reward, you get a reward, you get a reward, you know, that Oprah Winfrey shit. You get a reward, you get a car, you get a car. Man, but nah, yeah, for real, man. You know, Jake had to, you know, gotta stay in spirit, man. Gotta stay laughing some way, somehow. But it says again, easy thing unto the Lord, in the day of death reward man according to his ways. Calm. All right. But before I really want to get I said I was gonna get some points out of Jonah real quick too. Because this is one of the prime examples of somebody that literally tried to run away from the Lord, man. It's funny, but again, it's for us to learn, man. It's for us to learn that you can't run from the Lord, man. Jake can't get on a flight and get the hell out of here, man. Since I just said that too, let me grab that before I grab that Jonah. This is Isaiah 52:12. For ye shall not go out with haste, nor go by flight, for the Lord will go before you, and the power of Israel will be your reward. All right, he will be your reward. Okay, but again, you know, for you should not go with haste, nor go by flight. All right, so you know the Lord is going to defend us, man. All right, you can't defend yourself by fleeing, you know, out of America, because you know that this place is going to be destroyed. All right, you can't flee from this place, you know, thinking that you know, Jake could probably be like, man, I could buy myself some time to go bullshit, you know, over here in these other countries that's probably not going to get fucked up as bad as America. You know what I'm saying? Because there will be some places that on the earth that I'm not going to say is going to be completely untouched. You know, it's me speaking as a man, but again, you know, it's going to be mass chaos around the entire world, obviously, you know. But that was the reward. Um, since I mentioned the flight first, but let me grab Jonah, and I'm gonna read through it too. This is Jonah chapter 1 and 2. It says, "Arise, go to Nineveh, that great city, and then cry against it, for their wickedness has come up before me." But Jonah rose up to flee unto Tarshish from the presence of the Lord, and went down to Joppa, and he found the ship going into Tarshish. So he paid for the fare thereof, and went down into it to go with them unto Tarshish from the presence of the Lord. All right, the Lord gave Jonah instructions to go and handle business, man. Go and preach the downfall of Nineveh. All right, because the wickedness that was going on in there. But again, Jonah got on a ship, got the hell out of there. All right, but it says, "But the Lord sent out a great wind unto the sea, and there was a mighty tempest in the sea, so that the ship was like to be broken." All right, so the Lord sent storms and so on and so forth, the tempest, and just had the ship fucked up, and the people definitely was fucked up on the ship as well, because they don't know what the hell where the hell this come from. All right, but I'm kind of jumping the story. It says, the next verse. Verse 5, "Then the mariners were afraid, and cried every man unto his God, and cast forth the wares that were in the ship into the sea, to lighten it of them. But Jonah was gone down to the sides of the ship, and he lay and was fast asleep." So while all these people were worrying and stressing and what the hell going on, Jonah know damn well what the hell going on. But Jonah down there asleep, and that raised questions, So the shipmaster came unto him and said unto him, "What meanest thou, O sleeper? Arise, call upon thy God, if so be that God will think upon us that we perish not." All right. So they said, everyone to his fellow, "Come, let us cast lots, that we may know for whose caused this evil upon us." So they cast lots, and a lot fell on Jonah. All right. They trying to figure out what's going on, and Jonah is the prime suspect at the moment. It says, "Then said he," I'm wondering if I should move this, because I do not play with this goddamn son at all. It's like it. What was I? Cast lots. Jonah 1 and 8. "Then they said unto him, Tell us, we pray thee, for those cause this evil is upon us. What is thine occupation? And whence comest thou? What is thy country? And of the people art thou? And he said unto him, I am a Hebrew, and I fear the Lord, thy power, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, the power of heaven, which hath made the sea and the dry land. And then were the men exceedingly afraid, and said unto him, Why hast thou done this? For the men knew that he fled from the presence of the Lord, because he had told them." All right. So obviously, again, Jonah is the prime suspect at the moment. They didn't question him. All right, you're a Hebrew. All right, everybody know. Again, this is how you know that the Lord name's been ringing bells, man. All right, they heard that and it was like, oh shit, like you ran from Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. You ran from the Lord. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? All right. But it says, then they said unto him, What shall we do unto thee, that the sea may calm unto us? For the sea wrought and was tempestuous. It says, and he said unto them, Take me up and cast me forth into the sea, so shall the sea be calm unto you. For I know that for my sake, this great tempest is upon you. All right. So Jonah basically said, hey man, toss me in the water. That's the only way that this is gonna, this chaos is gonna stop. All right. It says, nevertheless, the men rowed hard to bring it to the land. All right, they tried to ignore it. All right, they was like, all right, let's try to. We're not gonna do that right now. All right, but let's try to at least row and get to some land. All right, but it says, nevertheless, the men rowed hard to bring it to the land, but they could not, for the sea wrought and was tempestuous against them. I read that. Oh my bad. No, that tempestuous where it came again. Nevertheless, the men rowed hard to bring it to the land, but they could not, for the sea wrought and was tempestuous against them. Wherefore they cried unto the Lord and said, We beseech thee, O Lord, we beseech thee, let us not perish for this man's life, and lay not upon us innocent blood, for thou, O Lord, hast done as it is pleased thee. So they took Jonah, cast him forth into the sea, and the sea ceased from her raging. Then the men feared the Lord exceedingly and offered a sacrifice unto the Lord and made vows. All right, now the Lord had prepared a great fish to swallow up Jonah, and Jonah was in the belly of the fish 3 days and 3 nights. All right, but the point being, account right here of Jonah literally knowing what the hell he has to do and made an attempt to flee. All right, furthermore, backing up the point, man, you can't run from the Lord physically. You can't physically run from the Lord. His eyes 10,000 times brighter than the sun, as we brought out early in the camp. All right, you can't run from the Lord, man. All right, so pretty much get down to lay down, man. That's what it's gonna come down to. All right, but I'm about to start winding down. I'm gonna get one, maybe 2 more. This is this is a book of St. Luke, chapter 12 and 45. All right, it says, and if that servant say in his heart, my Lord delayed his coming, and shall begin to beat his men servants and maidens, and to eat and drink and to be drunken, the Lord of that servant will come in a day when he looketh not for him, and at an hour when he is not aware, and will cut him in sunder, and will appoint him his portion with the unbelievers. All right, and what would you unbelievers get, man? You unbelievers are going to get mass destruction, you know, from Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. You know, finishing off, the cherry on the top is going to be the ICBM nuclear missiles. But before you get to the ICBM nuclear missiles, hey, it's going to be some more crazy shit going on, man. All right, the Lord knows how to pretty much delay, you know, you into your death, man. All right, and I think that's what I wanted to grab too, since I said that. That was in Revelations 9. Yep. You know, in that day, man, it's going to be some crazy shit, man. You know, the times of Jacob trouble, you know. But it says, in those days shall men seek death and shall not find it, and shall desire the death, and death shall flee from them. All right? It's going to be so crazy, man, that with whatever the hell you're going to be going through, you know, niggas is going to wish that they be put to death. All right? And the Lord is going to keep death away from them, you know, just so they can suffer. All right? If that don't strike fear into you, man, I don't know what else can. All right? But finishing off this Luke, it says, Luke 12 and 47, and that servant which knew his Lord's will and prepared not himself, neither did according to his will, should be beaten with many stripes. All right? That's for you. That's for you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, you know, that knew exactly what the hell you need to be doing. All right, especially, you know, you men, you know, that were in the truth one day and out the truth the next. You know, being back into the world, being a nigga again. All right, you got many stripes. You got many torments and terror coming upon you soon. All right. But it says, but he that knew not and did commit things worthy of stripes shall be beaten with few stripes. For unto whomsoever much is given, of him shall be much required. And to whom men have committed much of him, they will ask the more. All right. So even you folks, you know, that claim that you don't really knew what the hell happening, what was happening. All right. Again, which everybody knows that everybody know who the Israelites are. All right, which are you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right, we on the highways, byways in every major city, you know, preaching on the highways and byways on the corners of commerce, on the streets, you know, and it's on the internet. So again, it's the Lord covers all corners, He covers all exits, man. So there's no excuses. So again, even though you say that you didn't think this was going to happen, the Lord know that you actually seen something about this. So it's just not going to be as bad as the men who, you know, took their hands off the plow or the people who actually knew about everything that was going on but chose not to serve the Lord, all right, but you still will receive some type of terror and destruction, all right, which is going to be those few stripes, all right, whichever it may be. You know, everybody is appointed to wherever death, you know, that's going to come to them. You know, I can't speak of that. You know, whatever it may be, hey, just know there's going to be some scary shit, all right, but know that the Lord did it, all right. But it also mentioned too, you know, for unto whomsoever much is given, of him shall be much required. All right. So with this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, man, much is required of us. You know, speaking, you know, of you believers, man. All right. Much is required. So the work. What Kobe say, man, the job ain't finished. All right. It ain't done. So continue to work hard. Continue to make your calling and your election sure. Okay. And hey, that's pretty much it, man. You know, so I pray that this camp was edifying. Prior to getting out of here, I want to give infinite honors and prayers unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Kakodash, the Balanas, to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who taught me the truth. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect, you Akim, you Akwat, which you brothers and sisters in the Hebrew that believe. Shalom.